Shady, you were one of the highest paid running backs in the history of the NFL. So if talking money and talking the NFL, you the person to talk to. Should Tua play week 1 when the season kicks off if he's yet to sign a new long-term deal?
Should play week 1?
Yes, sir.
Nah, shouldn't play. And I don't think he should even play with like OTAs and all that. I wouldn't do none of that type of stuff without a contract. Now, I will say this, though, about Tua. I mean, he has to be very careful with this thing. Because I think he's a good quarterback, but we can't forget where he came from. Before McDaniels and before Tyreek Hill and Waddle and all these guys came, right? I was there watching, like, everybody thought he was regular, right? They didn't think he was that good. Am I tripping?
Not at all, sir.
Right? Joel, you a Dolphins fan?
They tried to trade him multiple times.
I mean, all the time. So, like, nobody really thought he was that good. So my thing is, don't overdo it. That's all I'm saying, right? I get it. Get your money, because I would tell every player, teammate, whoever it is, yo, get your money first, because I know it's a sport, but this is a business, and it's our business. And you should get his money first, but also just remind yourself, bro, you're a good quarterback, you're playing well, haven't done a lot, really, right? Had some good moments, but hasn't done a lot, and you've been up and down with the health. I'm just speaking this honest, right? So I just think that he should probably get his money, but don't fight that thing too much, because we know where you came from. And you don't want the coaches to say, you know what, let's go out there and get a quarterback that we don't think is as good, but he'd be good in our scheme, the same way they did the same thing with Tua.
So you're saying don't fight for too much money?
Yeah, I mean, why would you, though, right? I mean, like, sometimes in contracts, it's like always the small little things that you be wanting, right? I remember my contracts, all my few times I was up, and I want to be paid more than this guy, right? And Aaron Foster at the time had the highest contract. Adrian Peterson was obviously going to jump that, but at the time it was Adrian Foster, and I wanted more money than him. I said, I'm better, this and third, I'm younger. I was drafted second round, he was undrafted. And they made me pay higher than him by like $800,000. You get what I'm saying? But we were arguing for like 2 weeks about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, all right, just give me that. So, like, because it's all about, I guess, the competitive nature of the game. I make more money than you, and et cetera.
Agent-wise, too.
I'm just saying, with Tua, you're a good quarterback. I don't think you're super special. And it's not my words. This is what you was before McDaniels and Tyreek Hill and Waddle came there. That's what it is.
Yeah, he has to get his money. I don't think he's wired for a full ruckus over his contract, like Shady said. I mean, he's very aware of the injury history. He's already had 2 moments in his career where we didn't even know if he was going to continue playing. He had the hip injury in college, which was devastating.
I forgot about that.
So we weren't even sure. I mean, he was probably going to go number 1 before that happened.
Right.
So that happened. We didn't know if he was going to play football again. Comes back from that. Then he has all the concussion situations, which was very concerning.
The hand.
I mean, I have the whole list here. It's long. So he's very aware of how quickly things can change when it comes to his body, and so are the Dolphins. So I do think that however this contract ends up looking, even if it is the highest paid for 5 minutes or whatever it is, they're going to have a lot of provisions in there for injuries. So that part, I think that's fair. They have to protect themselves as an organization as well. But he does have a lot of things on his side. If the agent's walking in there, he has the 2nd highest winning percentage of anyone drafted in the class of 2020, which is a really good draft class. Of the 31 quarterbacks with 30 starts since 2020, he ranks top 10 in winning percentage, passer rating, completion percentage, passing yards per attempt. They've had back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time in 20 years. Like, he has a lot on his side when it comes to statistics, when it comes to production, and when it comes to team wins. Now, they haven't had the success in the postseason, but putting them in position to get into the postseason, and then last year being healthy and playing in the postseason, that matters, especially for the Miami Dolphins. I'm telling you, this team has been without a franchise quarterback for a very, very long time. That matters for branding. It matters for the city. It matters for the morale of the team. And the team is built around Tua. So I'm with Shady. I don't think it gets too sticky, because he does have a lot of things that they can point to that are question marks. But in the end, I do think that they get a deal done, and I don't think he should play week 1 if it's not.
Do you think, before you go, do you think he's a system quarterback?
I think yes, but I don't look at that as a negative thing. I think he's somebody that can definitely make plays. I don't think he is a fully a system quarterback in that he's not going to go out there and make something special happen. Right. But I think that he is somebody who obviously needs pieces around him. But you could say that about a lot of quarterbacks and a lot of franchise quarterbacks.
Well, I said it's because, like, if I was the GM or the owner, I would say, well, what were you before we brought you all this stuff here? Because I know quarterback, like, for example, like Josh Allen, he got way, way better when he got Stephon Diggs. But, I mean, he was still good before.
They look totally different.
No, I know what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, like, there's certain quarterbacks where I could drop in that system, and they're going to look damn good.
But Josh Allen took, as you know, a major step up in development from year one to year two. And then we saw the raw talent. You have guys like Jalen Hurts. You have guys like Brock Purdy. Like, there are guys that can be successful that aren't necessarily the physical type that we always want to see in a quarterback. I don't think that matters as much. And again, I think it depends on the team. Like, that's why I said that about Trevor Lawrence yesterday. That's why I say that about Tua. You have to consider the history of the team. How long have they been without a franchise quarterback? How long has it been since they've been in the position to be winning consistently, to be in the conversation for winning the division, let alone going to the playoffs? Like, all that stuff matters.
But what factor does patience have in all of this? I think about the 49ers, doing this off the top of my head, so there may be glaring omissions, if you will. The 49ers were, to some degree, in search for a quarterback, especially after Colin Kaepernick. And to some degree, while they had Colin Kaepernick, Blaine Gabbert ended up starting the last era of Chip Kelly. That was the 2016 season. The 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl. I believe they went to a conference championship game. But the 49ers said, Jimmy G, you're good. But you're not good enough. Draft Trey Lance. Trey Lance, they realize, as it pertains to his competency of his process around the football field, as of right now at least, not good enough. Move on Brock Purdy. Joy, at what point in time is good for the Dolphins not good enough? Because as I'm looking at the Dolphins, I say to myself, McDaniel's a great coach. Tyreek Hill's a top 5 player. Jalen Waddle is an excellent number 2 receiver. Now you have Odell Beckham as a number 3 receiver. You still have Jalen Ramsey back there at the back end.
The running backs?
You got the running backs. Raheem Mostert just had a career year, 20-plus touchdowns, if I am not mistaken. Not to mention Devon Achane out of Texas A&M, a 3rd-round pick. At what point are you no longer satiated as a Dolphins fan with making the playoffs? You've done it 2 years in a row. At what point are you like, okay, cool, we've made the playoffs. I mean, we can't just keep making the playoffs and losing.
The Dolphins made the playoffs 5 straight times, 1997 to 2001. We know who was there then. That was the last time that happened. 2022 and 2023 were the first back-to-back playoff appearances for the Dolphins in 20 years.
So
they have the longest playoff win drought in the NFL.
I'm asking you ignorantly. I'm not asking you explosively.
No.
Are you content with that?
I'm very content with making the playoffs back-to-back years. The Jets would be content with making the playoffs back-to-back years. Before they had Aaron Rodgers, they'd be very content with making making the playoffs back-to-back years. I understand what you're saying. You need to progress, but you have a better chance of progressing without Tua or with Tua.
I think with Tua, obviously.
Yeah. And the question is, if you think that Tua is your franchise guy, which is always the question, the sooner you pay them, the cheaper they are, the more flexibility you have. We always panic about these contracts, and if it doesn't end up working out, you know what ends up happening? They move on. They trade them. They recover. It's not the end of the world. We act like these are 10-year contracts. They're really not.
Yeah, this quarterback money and how they are paying quarterbacks is tricky because you can look at the Joe Burrows who's making 50+ million, but you can say, dang, he came to a really terrible team, took this team to the Super Bowl. He deserves that money. Then you can look at a Justin Herbert, and you could be like, well, how is he making $50 million? But some people could look at him and say, look at this dude, like the talent and the upside that this dude has, he should be making that money. When you talk about Trevor Lawrence and Tua, I truly believe it should come in at the right number. If I am Tua and I am at these OTAs, I'm not coming to the field with my helmet and I'm walking out there with flip-flops because the injuries that I have suffered is totally different than a lot of these other injuries. So anything to my head, my money gone. This organization might not even believe in me like that. So I need to get my money before I step out there in any type game because the injury that I had, I can't suffer that one no more. If I'm a Dak Prescott ankle knee something, if Dak hurts his ankle again, he gonna get paid. If Tua has another one of these concussions, it's not gonna be a team that's gonna take chances on him or give him big-time money. So I'm not walking out there strictly because of that. But even with all that being said, if I'm trying to build around you, like Shady's saying, you need a lot of this talent around you, the number has to be right.
Gotta be right. Because I keep saying it. The same way we thought Tua was before they all came there, they get another quarterback in there to do the same thing.
That's where I disagree, Tufai.
How?
Very, very, very simply. Tua, at least we know this, as it pertains to his accuracy, both statistically and with our eyeballs, and as it pertains to his processor, that's more so with our eyeballs, he's a top 5 quarterback in those 2 categories. 1,000%.
Now.
1,000%.
Okay, hold.
Go ahead.
So that's what I'm saying, though. You saying all this stuff now. You wasn't saying that.
Not at all. You're right.
All right, so why can't that be the same thing for other quarterbacks to come in there with great coaching, with great strategies, right? Great game plans, with great talent around you? That'd be the same thing like Tua.
Here's what I would suggest.
Okay. With less injuries.
Outside of Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Again, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so there may be omissions. Outside of Pat and Lamar Jackson, I would suggest that most of the quarterbacks did not become those quarterbacks until they had their talent. Joe Burrow, his rookie year, obviously he was a rookie, 2-7-1 as a starter. He got hurt. Jamar Chase shows up, he goes to a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, you know so well, so I'll talk to the audience, I won't talk to you. Jalen Hurts, his first year, he was a gadget guy. He played in 4 games, started the last 4 games of the season. Second year, he was not a good quarterback at all. His third year, they acquire A.J. Brown. He's runner-up for MVP. When I think about all of the quarterbacks, Josh Allen, you know you played with Josh Allen, before Stephon Diggs, post Stephon Diggs. Outside of Lamar, who was an MVP with Greg Roman and a run-based offense, and Patrick Mahomes, who last year proved how talented he is without a skilled wide receiver group. Outside of those 2 quarterbacks, everybody takes a monumental jump. C.J. Stroud might be in that conversation as well, depending on how you feel about Tank Dell. Every quarterback takes a monumental jump.
I agree.
Talent.
But what I'm saying is, them dudes wasn't looking average. Them dudes wasn't nobody wanted them.
2-5, Jalen Hurts was looking worse than average, sir. Jalen Hurts was looking very,
so
very bad.
are we speaking on top pick quarterbacks? I'm talking about top pick quarterbacks.
Okay.
Let's go there. Jalen Hurts, that was this second rounder that happens to be a starter. That happens, right? Quarterback gets hurt, they move around.
Talk Josh.
Place. Let's talk Josh.
Josh was not good. In his first 3 seasons, Josh was not good.
Josh Allen, I can tell you this much. The Bills was never in their mind thinking of ever getting rid of him at all.
True.
No matter how bad he played. Do you know why? Do you know why?
Because he's talented.
We see why.
Because he's so talented.
Yep.
Where your boy that you talking about, and I hate to even do it because I like Tua, right? He's one of my neighbors in my. So my thing is that because I just hate when people like forget. Like, hold on, dog. No, I ain't even talking about your injuries, which that's a lot. That's a lot going on. But as far as you as a player, before they got here, we all, us and all type of other TV programs, thought you was average. They didn't want you. Think about that for a second. He went number 6 overall. Where'd he go?
5.
He went 5 overall, and you tell me that we didn't want you? And then you get the right coach, the right players, and now we're like, oh, man, we got to pay him at the top of the market.
But let me ask you,
let's not forget that. That's all I'm saying. So he should get his money.
Sure.
But when you start talking about being the highest paid and making these demands, let's not forget where you came from.
The only reason I don't like that, and Joy, you can speak to this as well, is the people who did not want him also proved themselves to be incompetent as it pertains to leaders.
Okay, let's throw them out the window. So how did you feel about Tua? Before they got there, how did you feel about it?
I didn't think he looked great. I was surprised at how well he won. He was winning. Remember, this is objective.
I had a lot of questions about Tua.
Most people did.
I had a lot of questions about Tua. But I also will say, since he's gotten the help that most quarterbacks get, since he got a coach that believes in him, the coach that we think is really good, and the organization has stabilized, he's looked how we expected him to look. That is why I feel okay about it. Now, where I would agree with Shady is this. When it gets tricky with the money is, obviously, once you pay a quarterback, you can't keep everybody. And we know what Tua looked like before he had everybody. So that's why I would agree. And I still think that he's capable of getting top of the market money and making the contract flexible. They can move a lot of things around with this contract. If you think he's the guy, figure it out. And I think that they will. But what the question is, should he, regardless of all this stuff we're talking about, should he be on the field week 1? No. And I personally would not be on the field week 1.
Acho, because I know you are very high on Tua. Can Tua take you to a Super Bowl?
I'm worried about how they play the game around him outdoors. So for right now, I think a lot would have to go right. I think they have to have home field advantage. I think it would have to be like 80 degrees. They can't play in the cold.
Who can take you to a Super Bowl?
No, but I'm just saying, when you are paying, and I'm not saying everybody can do it. Yes, when you are paying a guy $50 million, the top of the quarterback, I'm assuming that's what Tua is asking for. That's why you're turning down money, because it ain't close to them dudes, right? So if you're not paying me like them dudes, you don't think this dude could take you to a Super Bowl?
He can. He needs a lot.
Right.
I mean,
listen, I can go for president, but I need a lot to go for me, though, right? I need a lot of things to work for me.
I'm trying to be fair, and I love Tua. I love Dolphins fans. Y'all know I love Tua. But if you watch how the Dolphins team is constructed, especially constructed outdoors against more physical teams, that's where I get wearisome. Watch the Dolphins play the Niners when the Niners are smacking in the mouth. So I think Tua can, but he just needs a lot.
But forget all that, because one thing I do learn, when you get in the playoffs, you need your quarterback to play at a high level.
Yes, you do.
Cold, indoor, outdoor, boots on, cleats on. You need your quarterback to play at a high level.
He looks so fragile in that playoff game.
Can he do that consistently in the playoffs and get you to the Super Bowl? I don't know. That's why I keep saying the number has to be right.
What did he look like in the playoffs? He like he didn't want to be there. He looked so fragile.
It was like -70.
I was like, oh,
I don't want
look at little Tua back there.
It's a fall-winter sport. You got to play the game.
See, everybody think like if you live in these cold cities like -7 coochie.
But I'm saying
it's cold for us too, man.
Nobody looked elite.
He looked like
nobody looked good.
I felt bad for him, though.
He didn't
want to be there. Come on, man. He better pray to God Tyreek Hill never pulls a shoestring.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.